Good evening, friends. Welcome to Wien Hauptbahnhof, Vienna main train station. So, on the journey here from Prague to Vienna, I was beginning to get a little nervous because I left myself a half an hour window, a buffer zone to change trains. And it was consistently losing time. We ended up being 13 minutes late, still left me with 17 minutes, you understand, but it was a little bit stressful toward the end there. Anyway, I need not have worried because got off the train, went to the display, and my train, the sleeper train to Genoa, was listed as half an hour late. So I went to Biller, I got some water to fill up my water flask. I got the very nice man to fill up my tea flask with hot water, which was great, almost like a pastry. And now, a couple of announcements later, it seems that my train is an hour late due to technical difficulties, and it keeps being pushed back by 10 minutes. Cheers. So, I'm hoping it doesn't get pushed back anymore. As you can see, I put my scarf on because it is brisk. I'm thinking -2 currently. But one has to remain philosophical about these things, you know? Once I eventually get on there and get in my bunk, still have a fried rice meal. I have quite a decent amount of whiskey. I have tea, I have water, I have a little bit of chocolate. It's all good, but I'm looking forward to getting into a warm bunk. I really am. Anyway, I hope you're having a lovely evening. That's quite cute. I'm beginning to get a little annoyed now. We're at a 90-minute delay. Technical problems. The train originates here in Vienna, so apparently a mechanic's working on the problem. It's the brakes, but my way of thinking was, can't they, if it originates here, can't they just use a different train? But apparently not. It's beginning to get annoying because I've already had a decent amount of whiskey to keep warm. I had a restrained dance while playing some EDM on my phone to keep warm, freaking out the normals a little bit. But yeah, so I've still got half an hour on this freezing ass platform. Anyway. Friends, so the resolution to that was that the train was cancelled. Cheers. It was pushed back until eventually they cancelled it. A group of extremely irate Austrians, Germans and Italians laid siege to the ticket office. I was last in the queue, and I turned up with a lovely girl called Katia, who looked really upset, and I was, predictably enough, very nice to her, and she seemed to buck up a little after that. The upshot is that I am rebooked on tomorrow night's night train, the same train I would have been on tonight. I've got a night in an actually quite swish hotel, which is nice. Means I can have a shower tonight, which is pleasant. And so yeah, so ultimately speaking, I spent a day in Vienna. It's a nice city. I've got breakfast included. I've got a free beer, which is nice. And then I spend the day here. I teach from here, literally, probably. And I get the train tomorrow night. Could have been a lot worse. Oh, and one last little thing. I was booked into a 6-bunk couchette. So essentially you have 3 sets of bunks. Because, she said, because you've been so nice to me, I'm going to upgrade you to a 4-bunk couchette. I was like, cheers, there you go. It's fun being nice, people. All right. As sign off, I'm going to go and plug my hard drive into the flat screen TV and watch some Star Trek. Anyway, like I say, this is a decent hotel, man. I'll probably take a brief video of my bedroom. King size bed, rainfall shower. It's good. It's decent. And they have this thing on the wall of the bar. It's 4 individual screens, and they have bands. There's a selection, a procession of bands doing one song each, and each having their own screen. It's weird, but kind of fun. Anyway, the view from my hotel room, you can almost see, I think I was about there. Almost see where I was cooling my heels for nearly 2 hours on the platform. Anyway, so my fairly swish, nice hotel room. It's pretty good. Good afternoon, friends. So, having had a nice night in my hotel, having worked all day in the business centre part of the hotel, I've got 3 hours before I take my my second night train to Genoa. So I figured I'd take a very quick-paced walk up to the Belvedere. Quick pace because it is absolutely Baltic. It's about -2 and it's a very misty kind of day. It's the kind of thing where you can feel tiny droplets of water hitting your face as you walk. I'm actually cold, which is quite a rare event. Fair enough, I'm in 2 thin layers and a summer jacket with my scarf wrapped around my neck. And I hadn't planned for this, in my defence, to be in Vienna for a day. So, there's that, but it is cold. So, quick-paced to get up to here. The Belvedere is a complex of 2 palaces, the upper and the lower. That is the upper Belvedere. Then you have the massive gardens, which are stunning in summer, and that down there is the lower Belvedere. It's an art museum, and a very good one, actually. Gustav Klimt's The Kiss, for example, is here. I've never been a massive fan of Klimt. Creative, yes, I like the metallic thing, but it's not really my bag. It's about 20 euros to get in, which I could afford, but I think, quite honestly, I'd prefer to spend a good few hours here, and they close in a little over an hour. So I'm going to save it for next time. I just thought I'd walk up here, really. So, just to give you an idea, stunning Baroque architecture, both of the buildings and the palace stables. And if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it. That never gets old. Anyway, it was built in 1723 by Prince Eugene of Savoy. He was a pretty serious war hero, even though he didn't do any fighting, after he fought the Ottomans in the 1710s. It was a very prosperous time for Austria. And so you had these 2 wonderful palaces built as a summer residence for him, and the gardens in between, occupying a massive footprint in very central Vienna. The art museums are very, very nice, world class. As I say, I'd prefer to dedicate a few hours, like half a day, to that, so I'll do it next time. Always nice leaving something to be done in the city that you fully intend to visit again. Anyway, the art museum is not without its controversies, however. Really quite a few pieces of art verging on priceless in some cases after World War II, in some cases long after World War II. They were judged by a tribunal and returned to, in many cases, the descendants of the Jewish people from whom they had been stolen by the Nazis and placed here. A couple of dozen, I think. Quite a serious amount. of art was in some cases repatriated and certainly given back to the families who had owned them before the war and before their families were murdered by the Nazis. So there's that. But everything in there now is kosher, as it were. So yeah. Anyway. Oh, it's brisk. My hands are getting cold. It's such a rare thing for me. So I'm going to have a brisk walk to warm back up again. And yeah, I'll get back to you. Good evening, friends. So I am in the Church of St. Elizabeth, which is really quite lovely. I'm keeping my voice down because the acoustics in here are incredible. So I popped in here. It's in between Belvedere and a cafe I intend to go to to let myself thaw out a little bit. This place is really rather lovely. It has incredible internal volume on a relatively small footprint. It was built in 1866 as a memorial church to the memory of the emperors Franz I and Franz II. And I like it. It has a good feeling. So the high altar there, St. Elizabeth of Thuringen. Elizabeth was born and she was the daughter of the Hungarian king, Andreas. At the age of 4, thank you very much, she was sent off to the German province of Thuringen. The idea was that she would be raised there and married to the eldest son of the Landgrave. She ended up being married to Ludwig, the second son, and lived in Elsinore Castle. She dedicated her very short life to charitable acts. When there were the poor, the needy, the infirm, the ill, the crippled, the hungry, on the steps of her castle, she would go out and bring them food and help them. She was beloved by the people for that. Her husband, Ludwig, loved her very much by all accounts and tolerated this. His family, not so much. When he died, very young, they kicked her out of the castle with her children because they thought that she had been wasting family money on charitable acts. She spent the rest of her days, which were very short, fairly destitute, helping people out, and she died at the age of 24 in 1231 AD. She was born in 1207. And she was canonized a very few years, I think 3 years after her death, because she was seen as such a saintly figure. Anyway, that's her. very loud kids playing over there. Right, well, my little sojourn in the Church of St. Elizabeth has thawed my ears out slightly, so I am now headed off to find a cafe, library cafe, hopefully, and sit down for a little while and warm up again. Right, so it's now very cold, -4. But truth be told, I'm kind of relishing it because I'm not going to be cold for a very long time. I hit Morocco on Monday morning, and from there I head south, so I'll have spring, summer. By the time summer's over, I'll be hitting spring again because I'll be in the southern hemisphere, and then by the time I get to South Africa, knock on wood, it'll be midsummer. So I'm kind of enjoying the cold. Anyway, I was walking back and I saw a Spar, the supermarket that they used to have all over Britain. I had a bit of a brainwave and made a purchase on which I will elaborate at a later time. We get back to the hotel now, thaw out, have a beer, relax for a while, and then I will head along to, well, I'm actually walking under Hauptbahnhof, the main train station right now. It's a 5-minute walk from the hotel, and board my train. Cross your fingers, guys, because if this train has problems, I am probably going to flip. Okay friends, so this is my 4-berth couchette for the night. And unless I'm mistaken, I might be solo in the carriage, at least for now. Anyway. Right, so if I get lucky, I'll be alone in this couchette at least for now. It's a long way to go, but there's short time to get there. So it's 19:18, 7:20. I arrive in Genoa at 09:38 tomorrow morning. Yeah, so I'm going to sign off. If you like what I do, how I'm doing it, if you're interested in my African Odyssey, please do like and subscribe.